And I call the member for Menzies.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The late Christopher Hitchens was once at a forum talking about global poverty, and he said, "The cure for poverty has a name. In fact, it's called the empowerment of women." And we know that where we give women in particular more choice to go back to work, and it's about choice, productivity lifts, prosperity lifts. And a key part of that choice is effective childcare and affordable childcare. Now, our family has been very lucky. We haven't spent as much on childcare as other families. We've leaned heavily on parents who happen to live nearby. But not everyone has that choice for a variety of reasons, that they've moved interstate, or their parents have passed on, or they're not capable or able. So an affordable, effective childcare scheme is key to workplace productivity, fairness, opportunity and prosperity. But like the cost of living crisis, the housing crisis, the energy crisis, if all of these things could be solved by good intentions and the headline of an act, I think this parliament would have not much work to do, because that's as easy as it is, apparently. You want to fix housing, come and vote for the housing bill. You want to fix energy, vote for our energy bill. You want to fix childcare, come and vote for our childcare bill. That seems to be the extent of the solution. Just come and vote for the bill with the title. It's a PR move. It's a move driven by public relations and spin, rather than actual substance in dealing with a policy. And the member for Cowper before me was very passionate, and he did emphasise that he's from a regional area. And to be fair, there are on both sides people from regional areas. As someone in metropolitan Melbourne, Bendigo is a regional area, but a good friend here from South Australia is from a very large regional area. And these problems are particularly manifest in regional areas. And again, people living in regional areas are less likely to be drawing on the luxuries that I had of grandparents living nearby, because for work and other reasons they've had to move to a particular part of Australia. So the member for Moncrieff has put this motion together, and I congratulate her for it. And let's just go to some key parts of it, because it's important to recognise what we're debating. That this House recognise that the government's cheaper childcare policy has driven up the cost of early childhood education and care for families. And that's a fact. It has driven up the costs. And it is disingenuous to claim otherwise. And again, good intentions don't lead to good policy if you haven't done the work. Part 2, families are reporting increases to the cost of their daily fees in excess of $20 per day. And for some in this place who earn the salaries that we do, and we all got a pay increase recently, most Australians didn't. And that is a lot of extra money for them to find every day. It's a lot of extra money for them to find every day. Part 3, the government's inability to manage the cost of living crisis. Again, the childcare crisis is a subset of the overall inability to manage the economy and to keep interest rates down, to keep energy costs down, to keep the entire costs of living down, including food on the table. The government's inaction to address workforce shortages. And again, this isn't with the benefit of hindsight. This was all flagged by the Shadow Minister and members who are here with me. It was obvious that there would be workforce shortages. The work was not done. And families, and this is part 4, families continue to be unable to access early childhood education and care, particularly in regional and rural areas. But I'll tell you what, even in metropolitan areas, you are seeing families struggle to find a place, an affordable place in a childcare centre. And that's not good for prosperity, it's not good for productivity, it's not good for fairness or opportunity, despite what the heading says. And again, the member for Cowper, he raised a good point, he raised it passionately, about the issue of housing. You can't solve the workforce shortages if people don't have somewhere to live. And underneath so many of the problems that Australians are facing is a government that is not seriously addressing housing. It is doing it through the headline of an act. That's it, just the headline, or a bill that hasn't passed yet. So we call on the government to take this seriously, to move beyond the talking points, to move beyond the spin and actually solve problems for Australians. Thank you.
The question is that the motion be agreed to